Having a plant-based diet has made me feel lighter on my feet, and it enables me to keep my body just functioning at the most optimal level that I believe it possibly can. I also stick to eating only whole foods. That means fruits and vegetables as close to how they are found in nature. And this helps so much with my recovery as well as with my actual speed because I feel so vibrant. I walk to and from my castings, and that includes walking across the Williamsburg Bridge from Brooklyn to Manhattan, which means miles and miles and miles and miles on my feet with a heavy backpack all day long. Standing on my feet all day keeps my endurance up. And the funny thing is that it's an active form of recovery, since your running muscles are a completely different set of muscles than your walking muscles. You actually are letting the running muscles rest while you're walking around. It seems counterintuitive because a lot of people think they're gonna wear themselves out if they are walking that much, but it's only made me build up a stamina so that running doesn't feel as hard. I use my time wisely. What this means is that if I have a window of time that I'm gonna exercise, I try to make the most of it. Say I only have 20 or 30 minutes. Those are the days that I challenge myself to run the fastest 5K that I can, or just see how far I can go in that time period. It's better to go really, really fast in a shorter period of time than just to jump on the treadmill and do a bunch of junk miles for an entire hour. Avoid overall exhaustion and adrenal fatigue by limiting the time that you're running to just 60 minutes a day. Now, there are special occasions where I think it's fine to run longer than that, like if you're doing a half marathon race on some weekend or something, maybe like once a month. I think that you can easily overdo it if you go longer than that. And it's also when you start to get sloppy. And so instead of going for an hour and a half trying to get in your 10 miles or whatever it is that your pace is, do an hour and just make that hour count. Now, this is important even if you're not running, but for me, it's very important to be able to have that edge and the alertness when you wake up if you've gotten a really good night's sleep, as well as just using that time as the time when your body recovers and repairs and rebuilds all the muscle that you might have broken down from your run. This is something that definitely changed the game for me when I first started, because I used to go take a morning yoga class and then jump on the treadmill or go to the track or something. And I was noticing that my hip had like a pinching feeling in it, and my knees were hurting, and I would get shin splints. Little did I know, having those long holding stretches that you do in like a yoga class, which are considered static stretches, like a low lunge or pigeon pose, or even holding some of the warrior postures, ended up making my muscles stretch out like a rubber band, which is great, but not if you're gonna go then do an impact sport like running. So it just made me more injury prone and then would put me off my feet so I wouldn't be able to run. So make sure that if you're gonna do a yoga class or some kind of static stretching, do it after you run. And if there is some kind of stretch that you need before you run, do something dynamic, which means like fast stretching, or like some light jumps up and down, or even like what I do is I just run at a slower pace for the first 5 minutes of my run to get myself warmed up, so then I can then amp it up. Yeah.